Rookie Move, a horror short by Jason Dougray.
Excuse me, could I talk to an available police officer, please?
The tiny, frail voice seemingly came out of nowhere. Kaylee looked around and couldn't pinpoint its source for a few seconds. Finally, she spotted a diminutive woman who looked to be in her 80s, perhaps even her 90s, standing just to the right of Carl's desk. Carl was on the phone and couldn't hear the woman, it seemed, although Kaylee wouldn't have balked at the idea that maybe Carl had faked a phone call so as to not have to deal with whatever the old woman needed. That was Carl's MO, after all.
I can help you, Mom,
Kaylee shouted over the din of the particularly noisy for a Monday night police precinct.
Excuse me, Mom. Excuse me. Could I talk to an available police officer, please?
She repeated to a non-responsive Carl. Kaylee got up and walked towards the woman. She had to take a pause and lean on a pillar on the way because her vision swam suddenly askew. The feeling quickly subsided and she shook her head and walked on. Must have stood up too fast, Kaylee thought. She was at her partner's desk in just a few strides.
Excuse me, could I talk to an available... Carl, can't you hear this poor woman?
Kaylee chided. Carl then said, "Hang on," and put his hand over the mouthpiece. "What?"
This woman has been trying to get your attention. Excuse me, could I talk to an available police officer, please?
Repeated the woman. "See?" Kaylee snidely remarked.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. This is my partner, Officer Kaylee, Carl said. She would be happy to help you.
Now to Kaylee. "Wouldn't you, Rookie?"
Of course I would,
Kaylee said to Carl with an I can take anything you dish out look. Being a rookie herself, Kaylee obviously hadn't had much experience with rookies, but from what she had gathered during her first 2 weeks on the job is that rookies made coffee, sorted mail, typed out all the paperwork, and generally just performed whatever task any of the senior officers didn't want to do. That included taking care of old ladies, apparently.
Follow me, Mom,
she said as she escorted the woman to her desk. Behind the old woman, Carl took the phone away from his ear to show Kaylee that it was a fake phone call. The old woman turned, and Carl went right back to faking it. Kaylee thought she noticed a moment that looked like fury pass over the woman's face, but when the woman turned back, it was gone. A trick of the light, thought Kaylee. She sat the woman down in the chair on the end of her desk.
So, what can I help you with?
Kaylee inquired. The woman looked her in the eye and said,
Excuse me, could I talk to an available police officer, please?
I am an available police officer.
Excuse me, could I talk to an available police officer, please?
Oh, okay. Can you tell me your name? The woman suddenly held up a note. Kaylee took it and read it. My name is Lillian Middleton. I have dementia. I live at 87 Cedar Grove in Acton with my son Jacob. Please drive me home. Kaylee looked at Lillian.
Mom, does your son have a phone?
Lillian just stared at Kaylee. Can we call him? Lillian continued to stare.
Do you have anyone else's phone number in your purse?
Lillian opened her mouth to speak.
Excuse me, could I talk to an available police officer, please?
Oh boy, okay. Hang on here for a minute. Kaylee motioned to Carl to meet her at the coffee station. After Kaylee relayed what the note said, she asked, What's the protocol? The protocol is you drive her home.
I thought we were always supposed to go with a partner.
Rook, have you seen how busy it is tonight? Plus, she's like 94. I think you got it.
But,
hey, drive her home, drop her off, make sure her son is there and beat feet.
I'm driving.
Squeal tires then. You want to be a cop? This is part of the game. You got this.
Okay, fine. You sure you don't want to come for the ride? Nah, I'm, washing my hair tonight, Kaylee chuckles. As Carl walks away, he adds over his shoulder, plus old ladies give me the creeps. Kaylee sighs as she looks back to the old woman. Me too, she said to no one in particular. The GPS said it would only take 21 minutes to get to the old woman's house, but she had already been driving for 15, and by the look of the scenery that they were currently driving past, Kaylee wasn't confident they would see more houses anytime soon. I'm sorry, came the old woman's frail old voice. You can talk. I get nervous around police officers. Well, that's okay, Mom. Most people do. I'm sorry. It's okay. I get nervous around police officers. Out of nowhere, a tingle shot up Kaylee's spine, and her whole body was struck by a wave of nausea. To ensure she didn't barf all over the dash, she took several deep breaths to calm herself. She felt somewhat close to normal in a matter of seconds, but the silence left in the car after her spell made the next few minutes feel like hours. Do you live in a treehouse, lady? Thought Kaylee. But sure enough, just when she thought she had entered in the wrong address, her GPS squawked and told her to turn right. She did. The small dirt road she now found them on ended at a very large house completely devoid of light, save for a candle in a window on the second floor. As Kaylee pulled up to the house and threw the transmission into park, she watched the candle move away from the window, disappear and reappear in a small window next to the front door. Is this where you live? Asked Kaylee nervously. I'm sorry. You get nervous around police officers, Kaylee finished for her. I get it. Kaylee got out and helped the woman get out of the passenger door. The front door opened, and a relatively young and handsome-looking shadow stepped out. Oh, thank God, exclaimed the shadow. Kaylee's eyes adjusted, and she noticed by the glow of the candlelight that he was in fact handsome, but he seemed to have an unfortunate scar on his cheek in the shape of an X. Mom, there you are. He turned to Kaylee. Thank you so much, officer. Kaylee. Officer Kaylee. He flashed a big grin that sent another shiver up her body. She swayed on her feet for a moment. Are you all right? Fine. Just didn't eat enough at lunch, I guess. But she didn't feel fine. Something was off. And the last people she wanted to know that she wasn't fine was these two weirdos. What's going on with your lights? Kaylee asked, covering her momentary wooziness. Oh, you know. Old houses. The wiring needs to be fixed. Power goes out a lot. This is my son, said the old woman. Good, that was my next question, Kaylee offered. I'm Jacob, said the handsome yet scarred fellow. This is my son, repeated the old woman. Kaylee, feeling better now, looked at Jacob and, as an aside, said, What's with the repetition? It's the dementia. It's comforting for her when she gets confused. I've never really heard of that. Suddenly a noise from the depths of the house interrupted her. Ah! Dad! Exclaimed Jacob as he rushed into the house, Kaylee following instinctively after him. The old lady followed as well, but much slower. This is my son, she said to no one in particular, and chuckled. Inside the house, Kaylee found herself standing at the top of a staircase leading down to a very dark basement. In the dim light, Kaylee noticed symbols painted on the wall, similar to the X-shaped scar on Jacob's face, and, like a good cop, filed those images away in her memory for her report later. You never knew what you would need to remember. Dad! Jacob yelled down into the abyss. Then to Kaylee. He went down there to try and untrip the circuit breaker. I'm stuck, came the response from the void. Something was weird about the voice. It definitely didn't sound as old as Jacob's mother, ostensibly the owner of this voice's wife. "Here, take this candle," said Jacob as he handed Kaylee the flame. "I'll go get a flashlight." And with that, Jacob ran off.
"Ah, my leg! I'm bleeding!"
Kaylee looked into the dark, and the voice of her partner came through her fear-addled brain. "You want to be a cop? This comes with the territory." "How's that flashlight coming?" she yelled back over her shoulder.
"Help!"
"I'm going down! Hurry up!" Kaylee yelled over her shoulder. Then to the dark. "Sir, my name is Officer Kaylee. I'm coming down. Keep talking so I can find you."
"I'm here, under the staircase."
"Okay, I'm almost there. Stay calm. Keep talking. What's your name?"
"Ed. I'm here. Keep coming."
She reached the bottom of the stairs and stepped onto the floor, which was covered in a sticky substance. She could feel it cover her shoe and slow her steps. "She's pregnant too." This more lucid-sounding version of the old woman's voice hit Kaylee like a knife. She turned her head to see the old woman and Jacob standing at the top of the stairs. "How do you know?" the son asked. "I can smell it," said the old woman.
"I'm here!"
The voice was closer now, much closer. Kaylee's fear response kicked in, and she wanted to immediately make a break for the top of the stairs, but her foot was stuck. "Well, you'll like that, won't you, Dad?"
"Yes."
The voice was in her ear now.
"The blood of mother and child is a blessing."
Kaylee pulled her gun. "Don't move!" She was on edge now, and as soon as there was movement to her left, she turned and shot. The flash of light from the gun lit up the room enough for her to see a hideous creature lurking right in front of her. Tall, horned, his mouth large and full of teeth. Just a trick of the light, she hoped, because her brain couldn't fathom of an actual creature that looked like that on this side of hell. She screamed just before the gun was violently ripped from her hand. "Enjoy!" Jacob yelled down as he slammed the door and locked it from the other side. "Oh my God, please, 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 let me go, please!" pled Kaylee as she narrowed her eyes and looked around, trying to get another look at the creature in her weak candlelight. "I wish I could," said the cold, animalistic voice. "But I'm so hungry." And with that came a cold and putrid breath that first passed by her nose and then blew out the flame. It was time to eat.